Hare Krishna, my name is Param Brahmadas and today I am giving my video presentation on Canto 3 and the topic I have chosen is Lessons from the Life and Character of Kardama Muni. I was actually very impressed by this pastime because this pastime teaches so many lessons for us to learn, whether is this pastime of Kardama Muni, of his life, is meant for all the ashramas, whether one is brahmacharya, whether one is grahastha or vanaprastha or a sannyasi. He was such an ideal spiritual practitioner or a yogi. He was not just a yogi, he was a mystic yogi, a mahayogi he's been called. So he gives lesson to all the ashramas. If we are thinking to get married, so what are the stages a person has to go through to control his senses? So let's hear what is happening from the Srimad Bhagavatam about the life of Kardama Muni, so we can have the lessons learning from Kardama Muni and his most beloved wife Srimati Devahuti here. So what has happened, that in the beginning of the creation, when Lord Vishnu, he instructed Lord Brahma to help him to do the creation, to do the population. So Lord Brahma has created many other sons, such as 4 Kumaras, and he ordered them, but they rejected. And then he created Lord Shiva, and then after that Kardama Muni. When Kardama Muni came, then he asked his duty, his jobs, what is for him. And Lord Brahma ordered him, I want you to do the progeny, I want you to do the population, help us. But before that, you go into a household life, you have to do the austerity. So Kardama Muni, following the instruction of his father, who was none other than his spiritual master, he got instruction from him how to do it. And as Srimad Bhagavatam says, he was practicing for 10,000 years, and that was the age of Satyuga. That was the age of Satyuga, which this meditation doing for 10,000, 20,000, 60,000, it was possible to do in those ages. But it is not completely possible in today's day and age, because this is Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, the process has been recommended, Harer Nam, Eva Kevalam, Kalau Naste, Eva Gatir Anyatha. That there is, other than Lord Hari's name, there is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. So Kardama Muni in Satya Yuga, he practices. And it's been said he was not just a normal yogi like others who was practicing Ashtanga Yoga. Apart from being a Mahayogi, he was also a devotee of the Lord. Because with his meditation, with his spiritual practices, he saw Lord Vishnu face to face. So what has happened, he was doing the meditation for 10,000 years and he was fully attentive. And he was not moving in a tinge. In today's era, when many people, they say it, that we are doing some meditation and they do only meditation for 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and they consider themselves for that they have achieved some kind of a perfection, which is a bogus philosophy and a bogus realization on this matter. And if you see Kardama Muni, he was not even moving a tinge. He was not moving a tinge from there. And this whole description of doing a Ashtanga Yoga, what we get in Srimad Bhagavad Gita in chapter 6, which is called Dhyana Yoga. That's where the Lord has recommended that you need to be free from all the material desires, especially the sex desire, and then you have to find a secluded place where you need to place a kushagra, where you have to sit neither too low nor too high. Then you have to do a half closed eyes, seeing your eyes on the tip of your nose, and then meditation on top of that. But at the end of chapter 6, which is 6.47, Lord says, Yogi Nam Api Sarvesham Mad Katerantar Atmana Shrattavan Bhajate Yomam Same Yuktat Manomataha. That means the best yoga is to meditate upon me. And that's what Kardama Muni did. He was not meditating on any impersonal form or any form which has been done by his own mental speculation. He was doing from the Vedic scripture where his father, Lord Brahma, has recommended to meditate upon and do the meditation. And when Kardama Muni, he did for 10,000 years, and when his meditation became matured, then guess what, who came? Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu himself arrived on the spot. I believe he was practicing near the river Saraswati. When he was there, and when he saw the Lord, he paid Dandavat straightway on the ground. He saw the Lord. He was so astonishing. Then why is that so? Because the form he was meditating in his heart, that form actually has become pratyaksha in front of him. By seeing the Lord, he started glorifying it. He says, "Oh my Lord, look at you. You are the reservoir of all the pleasures." And so and so. Kardama Muni, let me read some text for you where he glorifies Lord Vishnu. Kardama Muni saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is free from material contamination in his eternal form, effulgent like the sun, wearing a garland of white lotuses and water lilies. The Lord was clad in spotless yellow silk, and his lotus feet was fringed with sleek dark locks of curly hairs. Adorned with a crown and earrings, he held his characteristics, conch, disc, and mace in three of his hands, and a white lily in the fourth. He glanced about in a happy, smiling mood, whose sight captivates the hearts of all devotees. A golden streak on his chest, the famous Kaustubha gem suspended from his neck, he stood in the air with his lotus feet placed on the shoulder of Garuda. And look at that. Many people, especially those impersonalists, are there. They say, Lord has no form. How is it possible? How can we understand that Lord has no form? But here, Kardama Muni, he was not even a perfect son, but he also showed how perfect disciple he was. He's been ordered by Lord Brahma, who was playing a role of his spiritual master also. Okay, and through the Vedic scripture, Lord Brahma is the grandfather of all the living entity. He's trusted on the words of the spiritual master, and he practiced. And at the end of the day, the perfection of his yoga was, Srila Prabhupada writes in one of the purports of this pastime of Kardama Muni, that the perfection of the yoga is to see the Lord face to face. By having the complete faith on the words of the spiritual master, Kardama Muni got succeed. So we had the lesson, we take the lessons from Kardama Muni's behavior at this point, that having a full faith on the spiritual master words, that we can also achieve our life and we can also become successful like him. We should not have a doubt on this, because the spiritual master is following his spiritual master, and his spiritual master is following his spiritual master, which is coming from the disciplic succession and following the Vedas. Because Veda, it has been recommended that Lord has been known with the three aspects: Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan iti Shabdete. So no doubt Ashtanga Yogi, they do meditate in their heart as a Paramatma feature of the form with a four-handed Lord Vishnu. But that Vishnu form has been come up from his art and giving a darshan in face to face to Kardama Muni. So that's where he has been succeed in this way, a Mahan Yogi. And when he saw the Lord, he glorified very brilliantly, and the tears were flowing from his eyes. And guess what? The Lord Vishnu, he was so pleased with his devotion, and then he glorified Kardama Muni also, and he asked Kardama Muni to ask for a boon. And Kardama Muni, he was showing a very morose situation, where he was feeling that, oh Lord, now I have seen you, I got you, my life has been perfected. But he was considering himself a man of this material world who is being lusty, who is asking for a woman to enjoy the sense gratification, or to reduce his lust. So guess what he was saying to the Lord? He says, desiring to marry a girl of like disposition, who may prove to be very veritable cow of plenty in my married life. To satisfy my lusty desire, I too have sought the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the source of everything, for you are like a desire tree. So here, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that Kardama Muni, why is he doing like this? If he got the perfection by seeing the rod, so what is the purpose? But as we know that the purpose was, he was being ordered by his father Brahmaji to do the population, to generate the population, and that order was not by only Brahmaji, that was ordered by Lord Vishnu himself to Brahmaji, and Brahmaji was ordering to his all different sons, including Kardama Muni. So he was executing the direct offer of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. So he was in a one desire. What was the desire of the Lord? That is the desire of the devotee. That's called ekatvam here. So Kardama Muni was doing that. And when he does, so Srila Prabhupada say he was asking for a girl exactly like to his nature. It's called disposition. And let me read a very beautiful small 2-3 lines where Srila Prabhupada is enlightening us, where we can take the lesson from these beautiful teachings. Kardama Muni wanted to have a wife of like disposition, because a wife is necessary to assist in spiritual and material advancement. It is said that a wife yields the fulfillment of all desires in religion, economic development, and sense gratification. If one has a nice wife, he is to be considered a most fortunate man. In astrology, a man is considered fortunate who has great wealth, very good sons, or a very good wife. Of these three, one who has a very good wife is considered the most fortunate. Before marrying, one should select a wife of disposition and not be enamored by so-called beauty or other attractive features for sense gratification. In the 12th canto, it is said that in the Kali Yuga, marriage will be based on the consideration of sex life. As soon as there is deficiency in sex life, the question of divorce will arise. So here Kardama Muni is asking a Lord for a girl who can help him in his spiritual life. How beautiful it is. That Srila Prabhupada is saying that all the ashramas are great. And bhakti is so independent that it does not have to see whether a person is in a brahmacharya, a grahastha, vanaprastha, or sannyasi. Lord himself says, whoever knows the science of Krishna consciousness, that he has ready to become a spiritual master. Doesn't matter in whichever ashram he or she is. We just need to know who Krishna is, and that is enough to tell the whole world. And that's where Kardama Muni is saying. Here he's asking, please set up a good girl who can help me, who can assist me. So those who are willing to take a household life, they can definitely pray to the Lord and ask for a girl or for a boy who can assist him or her in their spiritual journey. And it has been said that girls or the woman is the power of a man on the journey of spiritual life. So they can assist them in this way. Because in Kali Yuga we have seen there are many divorce cases happening every nowadays, especially in our devotee community. Because people not seeing the spiritual side of a devotee, they only see the external side, the external beauty. They need to see the spiritual beauty of the person also. But only by seeing the external beauty, how beautiful, good looking they are, and they just straight away get married. And it says in the Vedas, in astrology, that earlier in Vedic culture, they used to match the horoscope of the boy and a girl, and they used to match it. That whether the girl is on the same liking and disliking with the boy, or the boy is also have the same liking and disliking, and the marriage will go. But now it doesn't happen. Only just see if you are expert in a sex, okay, you are my partner, which is not fair here. That's why Kardama Muni is begging or just requesting, please, a girl of like disposition, same as my nature. And by seeing Kardama Muni's request, Lord have already arranged a girl for Kardama Muni. And that is none other than who? Srimati Devahuti, who was the daughter of Swambhuva Manu and Shatarupa. And she was the princess, and Kardama Muni was just a mere mendicant. That is the perfect combination Lord has chosen. And Srila Prabhupada says, even though in your spiritual bhakti, if you have a so-called desire, even though a desire to get married, so don't ask anybody, ask the Lord Himself. So here in the case of Kardama Muni, the Lord Himself has chosen a girl for Kardama Muni to make his life perfect. He was already perfected, but just to generate or to populate the population, he was getting married. And by seeing so much, and Lord has been so much compassionate and affectionate towards Kardama Muni, seeing his devotion towards him, Lord shed tears. And with that tears, what has happened? Srimad Bhagavatam says it has become a Bindu Sarovar, which is in Gujarat. That became a river. How important it is. And whoever takes the bath into that river, his life become so perfect and he become disease free. So Kardama Muni, he's been told by Lord that after 2 more days, after day after tomorrow, Swambhuva Manu and his wife Shatarupa and their beautiful daughter Srimati Devahuti will come and they will offer their daughter to you, so you can marry her and beget 9 daughters and 1 son. I will come over there. And we can see that, Kardama Muni was not a lusty man. This is a lesson from all the devotees who are going to practice Krishna consciousness. This is a Vedic culture that first 25 years of the life, we must practice ourselves as a full celibate brahmachari or brahmacharini. Because when someone desires to get married, it says in some of the lecture I have heard, it says a devotee, he gets into the Grahastha ashram with an exit. He knows how to come out of the Grahastha life. Otherwise, he'll be stuck like an ordinary householder. He doesn't know where to come out. That's why this practice has been recommended in the Vedas, that before getting married, a person must have to practice celibate and learn how to control the senses. And after that, he can give the same spiritual life to his dependents, such as wife and children. And Kardama Muni has setting up a very good example over here. So when Lord left from the place after blessing Kardama Muni straight away, he just went into trance, meditating on the Lord. And after 2 days, when he saw Swambhuva Manu is coming from along with his all paraphernalia, all his army, entourage, with his wife and daughter, they saw the Kardama Muni over there, and Kardama Muni welcomed them. Very nice. And he welcomed the whole entourage, and he pleased them with the good words, encouraging or glorifying the king. O king, you are none other than Lord Shri Hari, because you are the representative of Hari. The king is a representative of Hari because they helps other ashrama to become spiritual, and in so many other ways he was glorifying. And then Swambhuva Manu started glorifying Kardama Muni back, because he knows that him, his wife and his daughter, they have been glorified by Narada Muni very, very, very beautifully, because Narada Muni went to Swambhuva Manu and glorified Kardama Muni that we have chosen a boy for your beautiful girl. And then when they both exchanging their respect and honor with each other, and then Kardama Muni says, I know that Lord Vishnu has told me that you will be here and you are going to offer your daughter to me. And after that, we know how the story moves on, where Swambhuva Manu, he offers his daughter to Kardama Muni with the sweet words, and they give so much dowry, all the paraphernalia for the householders, and they leave from there. And And here Devahuti, Mother Devahuti herself is meditating upon the lotus feet of her husband Kardama Muni there. And Srila Prabhupada, I would like to read one thing here about the qualities of a woman here, because Mother Devhuti, she showed how to be a perfect woman. We can see now Kardama Muni has become a householder. Before he was a brahmacharya, a celibate sannyasi. Then he was practicing, and that was an ashram for the brahmacharya to follow very strictly. Now he has come into agrasta life, where he's going to show, but before that his wife herself is showing how to have a good, perfect married life here. So Srila Prabhupada says, the quality of a woman has to be what Devhuti has shown, that she must be very chaste. The Devhuti was very chaste. Who can understand the desire of husband? A woman must be very well expert knowing the desire of the husband, what husband want. Serve him constantly with great love. A serving attitude has to be there towards the husband. Devhuti served her husband with intimacy and great respect, with control of senses, with love, and with sweet works. Working sanely with diligently, she pleased her very powerful husband, giving up all lust, pride, envy, great sinful activity, and vanity. And now see how beautiful it is. When they got married, straight away they did not engage into a sense gratification. Devhuti has been trained very well in a very Vedic style by her mother, Shatarupa here. So when she got married, she knows if she needs a desire to have children, then she must have to serve the husband very faithfully over here. And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention one thing here, where Kardama Muni, before getting married, the Devhuti, he promises or he informs Swambhuva Mamu that as soon as your daughter begets the children through me, I will leave her and I will take up the sannyasa. In today's world, if a son-in-law tells this to father-in-law, that's what I'm going to do, then father-in-law and mother-in-law and the daughter herself, they will not get married. They will straight away cancel, because their whole program is to live together throughout the whole life. But that is not the Vedic style. Every activity has a certain age or certain period to fulfill. When that activity is fulfilled, a person must leave the home for the full-time spiritual advancement. And he is already confronting, why I'm going to get married to your daughter? Because I have been ordered by my father, Brahmaji, and Lord Vishnu himself, that we need to generate the population. So for that thing, your daughter is going to facilitate or assist me. But after that, service will be finished. And father agreed, mother agreed, Devhuti herself agreed. Because Devhuti was herself meditating in her heart that my husband, he's such a perfect yogi. Even though Devhuti herself was a yoga lakshana, advanced in mystic power, in Ashtanga Yoga. She herself achieved a perfection performing Ashtanga Yoga. But she was saying that my future husband, or my husband going to be, he's a great Mahayogi. Before the marriage, he has already seen the Lord Vishnu. He has already perfected his life. If I get a little bit of his association, doesn't matter if he's going to stay with me for some time, only just begetting the children, I will be very lucky. It says in the Vedic scripture that ki lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoye. So she doesn't want to lose that opportunity to associate with such a great devotee of the Lord. And she took the opportunity and she started serving. And years passed away, and suddenly Kardama Muni, one day he saw that who is this lady, serving me so beautifully. When she came before marriage, Devhuti, she was such a princess, such a beautiful. It says that one time she was playing with her ball on the palace of her roof, that one of the Gandharva, he saw her and he fell from the plane. You know how beautiful she was, and her beauty was being sang by whole world, that beautiful she was. And when she came with as a princess, you know, with so many ornaments, night dresses, fragrance, and so and so. But while serving her husband, she completely forgot to decorate herself. She completely forgot how to comb the hair, how to dress properly, how to fragrance, and so, because she fully dedicated her life in the service of her great husband. So it's a very great lesson from all the women that Prabhupada writes in the purport of that section, that he was giving an example of Gandhari, that when Gandhari got to know that her future husband is blind, she voluntarily accepted to be blind throughout the whole life, and that's what her chastity. So it means, it was saying, even if girl comes from a very royal palace from a very, very opulent background, she should not show the superiority on her husband. She has to accept as a menial servant of her husband, because husband has been called as a swami or an honor. And that's why Devhuti, she didn't even show a tinge of the aristocrat, that she has come from an aristocrat family. Here she was serving her husband like anything. And in the Prabhupada, in a very beautiful line, he says, the wife is expected to be the same category as the husband. She must be prepared to follow the principle of the husband, and then there will be a happy life. So we can see that. What is the formula of to be a happy life here? If the husband is a devotee and the wife is materialistic, there cannot be any peace in the home. The wife must see the tendency of the husband and must be prepared to follow him. And it is the duty of the wife to adopt the special circumstances in which the husband is situated. Of course, if the husband is as great as Kardama Muni, then a very good result accrues from following him. But even if the husband is not a great devotee like Kardama Muni, it is the wife's duty to adapt herself according to his mentality. Prabhupada says in Srimad Bhagavatam, if the wife is more intelligent than the husband, but still she has to show herself as inferior to her husband to have a very happy life, married life. That makes married life very happy. It is also mentioned herein that by following the strict vows of chaste woman, Princess Devhuti became very skinny, and therefore her husband became compassionate. He knew that she was the daughter of a great king, and yet he was serving him just like an ordinary woman. She was reduced in health by such activity, and she became compassionate and addressed her as follows. We can see that Devhuti was not like a materialistic woman. She was very educated in a Vedika. She knows how to please the husband. And when she saw that her husband, asking her to give her a boon, then Devhuti, she said, my dear Lord, you remember that you have promised my father that you will give me children. So I am desiring to have some children. But before that, my body is not ready for your enjoyment, because it's so ugly, because she was also doing a tapasya, austerity, penance at the hermitage of Kardama Muni, and she became skinny and the dirt was lying all over her body, her hairs got matted. She is saying, my body is not ready for your enjoyment. I know you are a great mystic. Please, you can transform me into a very beautiful woman. And arrange a very beautiful palace so we can have the union, because your home is too much sattvic. So in the sattvic place, the union cannot be happen, because it's a place of worship. So you need to have a big palace for us for the union. And by Kardama Muni, he's a mystic power. He ordered his wife, you can go to the Bindu Sarovar, go and take the bath. As soon as she goes, Devhuti, she sees thousands and thousands of maid servants were ready to serve her. And as soon as she came out after taking a bath, she was exactly like a princess when she came first time to see Kardama Muni. And in that case, Kardama Muni, he created a big mansion, and that mansion was flying in the air. And that mansion has got many, like stories and many rooms, cushions. It is a whole nice description has been there. Everything was, decorated or made by gold and ruby and emerald and sapphire and so many other, jewelries. And by their mystic power, they traveled all over the places where all the demigods, Nandakanan one, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, by saying the name of which forest they went, where all the demigods go and they enjoy the sexual life. And Kardama Muni, thousands and thousands and thousands of years, he was just flying over there with his beautiful wives surrounded by other maid servants. But in that very beautiful point I have learned from there, even though Kardama Muni, he was playing a role of a husband and surrounded by his beautiful wife and other maid servants, he was completely adhira. He did not lose his character. He was with one woman only. He was just seeing only one woman, not many other women. Prabhupada said he was a completely adhira. He knows what he was doing that time. And after that, when they spent their life like an ordinary, like husband and wife, they came back, and then there, Kardama Muni, he transformed into 9 Kardama Muni. And all the 9 Kardama Muni, they had a union with Devhuti, and with a different 9 times semen discharge, that Devhuti gave birth to 9 beautiful daughters, and that has been predicted by Lord himself. And when that daughter came out, and Kardama Muni started leaving the home, because that daughter came and they grew up, and Devhuti, started scratching the floor with her toes, and she said to Kardama Muni, "Oh my Lord, please make me abhyam, make me fearful." And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that it is the duty of a leader, of a husband, or of a spiritual master to make their dependents fearless. Fearless means that giving the Krishna consciousness completely, telling a proper Krishna consciousness knowledge, giving to them. So she was asking, please give me fearlessness, means give me a son in that sense. Here, Devhuti, then when she saw that her husband, Kardama Muni, is just about to leave home, and she says, Devhuti asked her husband to wait before going out alone and entering the order of a sannyas, Narayana's order. My dear Brahmana, as far as your daughter, she's saying, as far as about your daughter, they will be getting married very soon and they will go back to home. Now you are also going. Then where I'm going to be looked after? So please give me a son. And then Lord Kardama Muni, he says, ki, my dear Devhuti, you are glorious. Then as you know that Lord Vishnu himself said to me, I will come into the womb of your wife as a Kapila Dev, as a plenary portion of the plenary portion, as Kardama Muni. I will come and I will preach the message of Sankhya philosophy all over the world. And I will, and Kardama Muni says, and that son will cut all the detachment of yours from this material world, and he will help you to achieve the perfection of the life. Here. So, when Kardama Muni, he stayed for another some more time, he gave a birth to a boy, which was none other than the incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, who came as a Kapila Muni. And one time Kardama Muni was thinking to just take a sannyasa. Then he and his son, who was Lord himself, they went to one secluded place where Kardama Muni paid his obeisances and he offered his prayers to the Lord. And he was asking for an instruction how he can fulfill his life over there. And Lord Kapila, he instructed Kardama Muni, what you should do now. And here Srila Prabhupada says, कि many people may ask question here, even though as a householder, it was a duty that after 50 years that a person has to go to take vanaprastha or a sannyasa. And Kardama Muni was setting a very beautiful example over here for all of us. Even though a Lord himself was in his home, but still he was taking a sannyasa order. Why? Because he was setting an example that we should not be attached to our household life. As I said, he set an example of being as a nice brahmacharya. First, he set an example of how to be a very obedient son or a disciple. And then he showed how to make our life perfect, being as a brahmachari, where he practiced so much, where Lord himself came. And now he's setting an example of how to be a good husband, where being as a husband, he gave everything what a husband is supposed to give to his wife. He gave all the material pleasure, and he plus also gave a spiritual pleasure here. I forgot to mention one thing here very beautifully. Let me tell you here. In one of the verse where Kardama Muni, when he saw his wife and he was being pleased by her devotion to him, so he was giving half of his what do you call spiritual advancement to his wife. Let me read it out for you here. The verse says like that: Ye me swadharma niratasya tapa samadhi vidyatma yoga vichita bhagvat prasadaha tanevate mad anusevana sevanya aviruddhan drishtam prapasya vitaramya abham ashokan. Kardama Muni continued, I have achieved the blessings of the Lord in discharging my own religious life of austerity, meditation and Krishna consciousness. Although you have not yet experienced these achievements, which are free from fear and lamentation, I shall offer them all to you because you are engaged in my service. Now just look at them. I am giving you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are. So here in the purport of in this verse, Srila Prabhupada says, by the grace of Kardama Muni, Devahuti experienced actual realization simply by serving. We get a similar example in the life of Narada Muni. In the previous life, Narada Muni was a maidservant son, but his mother was engaged in the service of great devotee. He got the opportunity to serve the devotees, and simply by eating the remnants of their foodstuff and carrying out their orders, he became so elevated that in his next life he became the great personality Narada. For spiritual achievement, the easiest path is to take the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and to serve him with heart and soul. That is the secret of the success. So here, Kardama Muni, not even he was playing the role of a husband, but he was also playing the role of a spiritual master. In Vedic times, especially in Satya Yuga, a woman does not accept a spiritual master separately. Her husband itself is a spiritual master, because all the people in Satya Yuga, they were all Paramahamsas. They were already elevated in their spiritual advancement, and whatever the advancement husband will get, the same advancement it will be getting by Devhuti also. So Kardama, he was so powerful that, as we have seen or as we have heard, that how beautifully he created the mansion in the air, and through his mystic power he gave the good health to Devhuti, and she became exactly like a princess as she came to see first time Kardama Muni. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, but because Kardama Muni was acting as a spiritual master, when he saw how his wife, or as a disciple, she has pleased him, he gave the blessings. He gave the blessings to achieve what she could not achieve by her own strength. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, see, once your spiritual master has been pleased by you, once he blesses you, then all the Veda Shastra, it will manifest in your heart. Because Yasya Prasada Bhagavad Prasado, Yasya Aprasada Nagati Kutopi. So with the blessing of the spiritual master, we get the Supreme Lord, and with not the blessing of the spiritual master, we don't get the blessings of the Supreme Lord here. So as you can see how Kardama Muni was so pleased with the service of his wife, and that's where he says here, please ask me the boon, and that's where she asked, okay, I'm desiring to have a children here. So this is a very beautiful lesson we can learn from Kardama Muni's life here, that a disciple must be so obedient. And somewhere in the purport Srila Prabhupada, somewhere nearby, he says it is the duty of a disciple that his only order or his only answer to his spiritual master is yes sir. He must make the order of his spiritual master as his life and soul, and that is the success of the whole spiritual life. If we work or if we act according to the instructions of the spiritual master, it will be very, very easy for us to please Lord Krishna here. See, Devahuti hasn't seen the Lord. Devahuti, no doubt she was Yoga Lakshana also, but she was not as powerful as Kardama Yogi, because he was a Mahayogi there. But when he pleased and he showered all the blessings to her, so she can have the transcendental vision. And now here, when he's about to leave to take a sannyasa, she's saying, my dear Lord, I am not stopping you not to go to take a renounced order of life. I am very happy, but please make me abhyam as well. When he blesses, okay, then he stayed for some more time, he gave a birth, and the Lord Kapila came, and when he met Lord Kapila and asking for a permission, so, oh my Lord, please allow me to leave. And when he leaves, when he takes the renounced order of life, and he perfects his life, he exactly follow the order of the spiritual master, whatever spiritual master or whatever the Supreme Lord asked him to do it. And he was completely following it, and at the end of the life, he achieved, he made his life perfect, and he went back to Godhead. And on the other side, where the mother Devahuti was left, she was left living with her son. And she was one time was lamenting, oh my Lord, I know my husband was a very, very great devotee of the Lord. I did not take his spiritual association. Only I was asking for a material sense gratification. I just asked him. I was so fool. And so she was lamenting very, very badly. And then Lord Kapila, seeing as the nature of a woman, and she herself was confronting, I am a woman, I cannot understand the Vedic scripture. So my Lord Kapila, please help me. Please cut all my detachment so I can also achieve the perfection of the life here. And then we can see how the Lord Kapila Dev's teaching starts, and how he it is meant for everybody. So here we can take the lessons from Kardama Muni. The first lesson, what we have been learned, that he was very obedient to his father and a spiritual master, and that everybody must all have to do it. Whatever a spiritual master says, we must fulfill it. And he also, by doing that, he was a perfect yogi. So we need to, being as a human being, we got this human birth. It is not just to live like other materialistic people, what materialistic people are living. It says in Canto 2, Ayud Harti Vepumsa Udyan Ashtamcha Yanashu Tasya Arthe Yatshano Niti Uttama Shloka Vartaya. That as soon as the sun is rising and setting up, he is decreasing the duration life of everybody except the one who passes his life while narrating the pastimes of the Supreme Lord Shri Hari. So here we can understand that we should not have to become a materialistic person. We got this human birth to make our life a perfect, like a Kardama Muni. And he followed the Vedic process, another lesson, before getting into the household life. We can see how he controlled his senses, how he learned all the Vedic scriptures from his father, how he practiced the austerity, because that austerity, what he practiced in brahmacharya before getting married, it helped him to take a sannyasa after the household life. So it is very, very important for all the devotees who are keen or willing to get married. No doubt, Lord never says, He says, Dharma aviruddhya kamo asmi. That sex life which is not against the religious principle, and that sex life is me. That if you are willing to do that, no problem, you can get it, but make sure you should know how to get out of that his household life, because household life is not meant to stay forever here. But in Kali Yuga, Srila Prabhupada says that if you can make your home Krishna consciousness, then there is no need to take sannyasa. And the sannyasa has been forbidden in Kali Yuga. But those who can make it, they should make it. But not in majority, they cannot take it. So they have to make their home as a Krishna consciousness. If you see in previously, why a person take a sannyasa? Because he doesn't get a proper time he doesn't get a proper time or a proper facility or help from his family life where he can progress toward the spiritual life. But if your wife is Krishna consciousness, your children are Krishna consciousness, you are Krishna consciousness, and the whole atmosphere inside and outside of your house is Krishna consciousness, then Srila Prabhupada says there is no need to take a sannyasa. You can practice wherever you are. And of course, he also showed how he acted as a perfect husband. That perfect husband does not mean pour all the materialistic facility to his wife or his children. Apart from that, he has to facilitate them with the spiritual advancement. That's what he did to his wife also. We have seen how he gave. Even Lord Indra cannot give all those facilities, what to speak about the people of this material world. He gave everything what a person even cannot even in his dream. That is very hard. But this he perfect. He gave a materialistic life, and wife also showed. Not even a husband. Kardama Muni set an example. His wife also set an example, being as a woman, how to serve the husband in all the respect and how to help him in his spiritual life. And he left the home at the right age to set up an example in the society. We can say that he was not attached at all. He knew that the Lord is going to come. I should say some more time. No, not at all. He perfected his life, and when the time came, he took the retirement. And that is because at the end of the day, he can completely focus on the spiritual life. And at the end, he got the liberation. He went back to Godhead. And if we follow exactly what the Kardama Muni is saying and how he has done, following the instruction of the spiritual master, following the Vedas, rendering devotional service, engaging ourselves in hearing, remembering, chanting, distributing books, distributing prasadam, conducting so many spiritual gatherings, some program, facilitating others to take up the Krishna consciousness. So at the end of our life, we can also go back to Godhead. Thank you very much.